to end, but now they're back in LA and they've turned to self-reflection and accountability to cope for the loss. Before we hand it over to Omar Ruiz, I want to ask you, Shregs, have you talked to anybody over there? How are they feeling?
I have, Kay. I actually spoke with Sean McVay yesterday, and I reached out to him the night of the Super Bowl loss and did not hear back. We usually text or speak pretty frequently. Yesterday we spoke, and his whole message right now is that what kind of men are we going to be? What kind of man am I going to be? I can't sulk. We have to pick ourselves up. Really, he's already taken on that Dan Quinn thing of let's embrace the adversity. I mean, let's embrace that and let's use that as fuel, because when you're everybody's darling, it's easy. When everyone's positive on you, it's easy. Now we're the butt of the jokes. Now we're the ones everyone's poking holes in. How are we going to respond? And he was in a great mood yesterday.
Great.
He said, I can't sulk. I think the night of, he was in the tank. He was not good. The next day, though, taking a moment of reflection. And one quick note. This comes from another member of the front office of the Rams. Everyone was silent on the flight the next day. And they're in a bad place. They're flying back, 6-hour flight from Atlanta. And at the end of the flight, they're flying over the new stadium. And everyone kind of peeks their head over out the window to see it. And suddenly people started smiling. And it came into a bit of reality that they have a 33-year-old head coach, a 24-year-old quarterback, and they just went to the Super Bowl, and they have the most amazing stadium the NFL has ever seen opening in 2 years. Good days are ahead.
Best running back, best defensive player. A lot to look forward to, Shregs.
Love that. Well, we saw an uncharacteristic performance in the Super Bowl from the Rams. Let's look at the comparison between their first 18 games of the season and the Super Bowl. Taking a look here. It was a weird game. I mean, maybe the moment was too big. Maybe they'll use that, like you said, and sort of internalize it and use it to motivate them this season. But is this the type of loss, Kyle, that you think could linger with them for seasons to come, like we saw with the Seahawks? We've seen it with the Falcons after losses to New England.
Yeah, I mean, I'm listening to what Peter's saying. It's all very optimistic and everything. It's also all very familiar. Every year, there's this conversation about the team that loses the Super Bowl. Can they bounce back? And typically it's, yeah, of course, they win their conference and they have great players, and then the coaches who lose the Super Bowl go into motivation mode, and we will use this, and we will do... And then they never make it back. You know, no team that the Patriots have beaten in this run has ever come back in that era, going all the way back to the first one. It doesn't happen. You know, I remember singing those same things about the Falcons and Dan Quinn and embrace the suck and all that. They haven't been back. Can we look around this table right now and say with any confidence we think that Matt Ryan's going to start another Super Bowl in his career? Maybe he will. I don't know. But the NFC is really, really good. It's interesting because the only team, the last team to score 3 points in the Super Bowl was the 71 Dolphins, who came back the next year and didn't lose a single game. However, you know, Bob Greasy wasn't making $80 million, and Larry Zonka was playing for $800 a game or something like that. In this era, to do it, we've seen great Seahawks teams, great Falcons teams over and over, and they don't show up again. I would not be surprised if this is the last we hear of the Rams for a while. However, the only thing I'll say that flies in the face of that, I don't know if we've ever seen somebody like McVay who has taken a terrible team just like that and made him into a juggernaut. So if you have faith in McVay like I do, there's a shot. But I'm not going to be the guy the day after the Super Bowl or 2 days after. Says, they'll be fine, because most times they're not.
I was listening to Andrew Whitworth talk after the game, and he came out and he just said, we got to hold our chins up. And I think we have that sound, and it's something to look for. Oh, there's no sound. So what I love about him is that he's one of the leaders on that team, not just the offensive line. And he came out and he said, how we respond is how we're going to be remembered. And it's a powerful statement, because I've been on teams where guys were in the tank in the middle of the season, guys were in the tank when we didn't make the playoffs, when we got knocked out of the playoffs, and you knew certain individuals, by the time you left the locker room, were going to be checked out the following season. You knew certain individuals, by the time you left the locker room, wouldn't be on the team next season. Sure. I believe this squad is different, though. Sean McVay, they got these guys, he has these guys so bought into what he's selling that I don't see movement. And not in the sense of free agencies or guys going to get money elsewhere. All season long, I was waiting for something to happen within those walls where they just didn't believe. We heard whispers of locker rooms falling out every single week. Never a whisper out of the Rams locker room.
Especially those guys with Sue and Peters who have those labels.
And that was the narrative, right? He can't coach them. These guys, they're one of those teams that are going to fall apart because of individual brands that are being built. No, these guys are bought in. And I feel like he's the main reason why, and leaders like Andrew Whitworth.
But it's such a special thing to get to the Super Bowl, even more special to win it. Like, I believe in the sanctity of a Super Bowl team and everything sort of being right. So it's hard to not fall into your thought process, Kyle, of how rare it is.
Yeah.
And if you look at, I mean, we have friends. We have Steve Smith, got there early in his career, played Hall of Fame seasons after that. In fact, 13 Hall of Fame seasons after that, and never got back. Antonio Brown got there his rookie year, loses to the Packers. He's amazing every year and hasn't been back since. Going further, Curtis Martin, Dan Marino went there early and never got back. I don't know what it takes, but I really look at the Eagles last year. Magic gets you back. Why I wasn't sold on the Eagles this year, because I really felt like it was everything coming together at the right time, and it's hard for me to believe that it wasn't that this year for the Rams without the ending that they wanted.
I remember talking to Clay Matthews once, and he comes right out and he wins the Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers, and the two of them are standing up there, and he's got a heavyweight wrestling belt and everything. And he said, I thought this was going to be easy. I thought we'd do it every single year. This is the NFL. I won at SC. Rodgers and I are going to take over the league. How many Super Bowls have they been back to? Yeah. It is really, really hard. The schedule gets harder. Players leave. It's just how it goes.
The McVay thing is fascinating. So if he is going to internalize this and beat himself up, that's one thing. But when he was talking to me yesterday, it seemed like he was almost welcoming the hate. Like there was almost an edge to him already of like
embracing the sock.
Bring it though. Like, let me prove you wrong again. Okay. Think about this guy. He was hired at 31. Everyone thought it was a clown hire. It wasn't going to happen. They had this great year of Coach of the Year, and here he goes, Super Bowl. Like, this is what he thrives on. I think he is a unique case. I think he is a special breed.
Trace, do you think he's getting hate? I haven't seen it. He is?
Yeah, I mean, they're saying that he does. I mean, even on our show, we said he got